Certainly appreciate the fact that the President's taken the position he took just last week in terms of making sure that as we focus on enforcement, which is an important component of immigration issues, that we focus on the people that really need to be focused on. And I think the President's edict suggesting that we may distinguish between those who represent real threats to this country and those who are just simply trying to get a job and trying to help an industry. Many folks in the country do not understand or appreciate the link between immigration, workers, agriculture, and food. And the way I explain it to folks, I sometimes get approached by folks who say, maybe it'd be a good idea for those folks to leave the country. I said, well, okay, fine. I want those folks to leave the country. Here's what you need to understand. That probably 50%, maybe as high as 75% of our food is in some way, shape, or form touched by those immigrant hands. So if you ask those folks to leave the country, who is going to do the work? And the notion that somehow you could increase the wage levels to the point where others who are looking for work will take that work. It's already been tried. The farm workers out of California tried that last year. They ran an ad, said jobs wanted, opportunity for you to work for a pretty decent wage. Thousands of people hit the button on the website to find out more about those jobs. Less than 20 people took them. And this is in a state with high unemployment. The reality is if you increase wage levels, that means food costs will increase. And nobody in this country that I know of that I've talked to really wants their food costs to cost more. They're interested in maintaining the advantage we have, which is relatively inexpensive and extraordinary diversity in food in our grocery stores. So I said, okay, fine. So you don't want your food costs to increase? Well, here's another strategy. How about if we import more of our food? You like that idea? You know, if you like importing your oil from Hugo Chavez, how about your fruits and vegetables? You think that's a good idea? No, I'll say no. It's not a good idea either. Food safety issues. We're very blessed in this country with extraordinary food safety from our producers all the way through our processors to the retailers to the folks at home. So I say, well, if you're not interested in seeing increased food costs and you're not interested in importing more of your food and maintaining the extraordinary advantage we have, then you must focus on getting an immigration policy that will allow these people to work. And the President and I are very focused on this. We need, obviously, we have a partner in the Senator, but we need other partners in Congress to stop demagoguing this issue, which they often do, stop dividing the people over this issue, which they often do, and let's reach a consensus so that the agricultural community that depends on these workers will have the workforce they need, and so we won't be faced with what we're seeing in states like Georgia, where a lot of our food is now sitting in the fields not being picked, simply because there simply are not enough people to do it. This is an extraordinary advantage Americans have. We have food security. As I travel around the world, I'm impressed how frequently people will come up and look at the United States and say you have this extraordinary opportunity to produce most of what you need. You really wouldn't have to import a whole heck of a lot to feed your people. That's an extraordinary advantage that you, the producers, farmers, and ranchers in this country provide us. And then when 6 to 7% of our paycheck goes for food, when most other people in the world are spending 15, 20, 25, or as much as 50% of their paycheck for food, it's an extraordinary economic advantage that American agriculture provides. It's an untold story. The success of American agriculture, particularly the struggling economy, it's an untold and unappreciated story, but last week the President took an opportunity to spend 3 days in rural America. At least we began to put the focus where it belongs.
As we go into the fall, in these debates on what happens on the second round, deficit reduction talks, ag will be, in my judgment, a disproportionately large part of what some people propose as cuts. So we're going to have to really work on a balance and the right way to do this.
It's going to be a tough, very tough time to be doing a farm bill because of the fact that we are seeing major cuts to address the deficit at the federal level. We need to tackle that, no question. Agriculture's already contributed to paying down the deficit last year with cuts in crop insurance, before anybody else was, by the way. Agriculture's been there. This current year budget, we've taken cuts in ag research, which I'm concerned about, but we've done our part. My concern is that agriculture not be unfairly targeted for future cuts. That's my concern right now. I want to make sure we all know we've got to tighten our belts, but we also know that what all of you do and the food security of this country is absolutely critical. A lot of folks may think that their food comes from the grocery store when they go in and pick something off the shelf. We know there's a whole lot more to it. As you know, in the last Farm Bill, for the first time, we were able to get a specialty crop title. I can't believe it took that long, but we actually, for the first time, have a chapter or a title of the Farm Bill focused on fruits and vegetables and specialty crops. And I was pleased to author that, and we're going to make sure it stays in there, and that we're able to strengthen that as well. Part of it has been our relationship, not only supporting all of you, whether it's the tree assistance program and conservation, or whether it's the special crop block grant or other research efforts, but our relationship with food and nutrition programs is very important. And for the first time, and again, hard for me to believe it's taken as long as it has, but Michigan this fall, along with Florida, are going to be the first two states where we are going to be able to operate with local purchases for school programs. And I want to thank the Secretary for doing that, and for Michigan being one of those two. This is important to us. I mean, you know, kids in West Michigan ought to be able to have these great apples, right? Great apples and blueberries and strawberries and vegetables and dairy and everything that we have in Michigan be able to come into the local school. And for the first time, we're going to be able to begin that process rather than going through a national purchase as has been done in the past.